Okay, so tonight's homework is on compare and contrast writing. At the end of this presentation, you will better understand how to structure a compare and contrast written assignment. We will be writing a short essay comparing Harrison Bergeron to the film 2081, and you will use these notes to put together the short essay, so take careful notes. So the first thing to do in considering compare and contrast writing is let's go ahead and fill out the table, and if you're using the guided notes, this is going to be nice and easy and helpful, but you're just going to fill in as we kind of talk these things through together. So first of all, you should know the difference between what compare and contrast means. So when you're comparing, it means you're showing similarities in two different subjects. When you're contrasting, it means you're showing differences in two different subjects. So what we're doing with the movie is we've read the story and now we're going to watch the movie, and you're going to write down everything that you're noticing or what you remember from Harrison Bergeron, and then everything you remember from the movie or see in the movie 2081. Now, because this is a short essay, you're going to have to make the decision about if you're going to just compare or if you're just going to contrast or if you're going to do both. And if you decide to do both, it's probably going to be a little bit of a longer essay. Now, when you make your topic selection, remember that when you're comparing and contrasting, you need at least two different subjects or two things to look at. In this case, it's Harrison Bergeron, the story, and 2081. You need to know attributes, many of them, for each piece. I'm suggesting 15 to 20. So example, when you're looking at something like compare the presidencies of Abraham Lincoln and Chester Arthur. Well, you need to know enough about Abraham Lincoln and Chester Arthur in order to actually do an adequate comparison. So that's really important. So validity, or what is valid. So what you need to be able to do is to say something like, I have a red sweater, but Mary has a gray sweatshirt. So you're comparing your outfit, I guess, to Mary's. And in this instance, there's a color difference. There's a type of shirt difference. One's a sweater, one's a sweatshirt. So you're looking at multiple aspects or attributes for both things. So you're being very specific, in other words. So instead of just saying like, I have a red sweater and Mary doesn't, you really need to think about the details and the explanation. That's why it's really important that when we're looking at these subjects, I'm asking you to think about lots of different attributes, 15 to 20 different things that you can then pick and choose from in order to have lots of details and be able to explain. Before you write, you need to figure out whether you're going to compare, contrast, or both, like I said. So you're going to have a graphic organizer that we're going to kind of fill out together, but then when it comes to the moment where you're going to be actually doing the writing, you're going to need to make a decision about what you're going to do. And you need to be very careful about it because you don't want to confuse your reader. So that comes to your organization. If you're only doing like a single paragraph, you really should do one or the other. If it's multi-paragraph, you can do one or the other, or you can decide to do both. I would really suggest that you try to come up with, an intro, a conclusion, and then your body paragraphs are where you're going to compare and contrast. So if you're going to do both, you might be looking at a 4-paragraph short essay or more, but if you're going to stick to just one, it could be as short as 3 paragraphs, basically. So you need to determine your organization of your essay and how many paragraphs you're actually going to write and how many actual attributes and ideas you know about both things, the two subjects that you're comparing. If you need to pause and still finish filling out the table, feel free to do that. All right, so some words to help you here. These are some words to help you compare. Same, similar, alike, similarities, common, comparable. Are there more? Yes. Feel free to add to your word choice and think about lots more that you could use. Contrasting words, different, unlike, vary, I like that one. Differences, differ, variations, opposite, opposing. Kind of like the contrasting words a little bit more than the comparing words. Anywho, similarly, there is a ton more contrasting words that you could use. Feel free to look it up. Use your iPad and search up words to try and help your word choice, because I think it is really important to add these types of words to make sure that your reader knows that you are in fact comparing or contrasting. Now, I've gone ahead in the guided notes and given you these sentences to help you. So if you're not using the guided notes, you might want to think about using that because, I'm not making you write all these down, but I do think it's important to take a look at them. These are all the different types of sentences that we've talked about before, but in this instance, we're looking at specific compare-contrast examples. So a simple declarative sentence like the United States has various climate zones. So using the word various, you're showing that you're actually going to be comparing and contrasting the different types of zones. By saying all mammals have similarities, I know that you're going to do a comparison essay, right? You're not contrasting. Similarities means you're showing things that are the same. Number statements. The planets in our solar system are alike in several ways. Again, by using the word alike, I can see that it's a comparison essay. Wind instruments in the orchestra have several common attributes. Again, comparison. Question. What makes butterflies and moths different types of insects? So by the fact that I see that you're doing butterflies and moths and then you use the word different, I know that it's a contrasting essay. So you're showing what is different about those two things. How were President Theodore Roosevelt and his cousin Franklin similar? Again, by using the word choice similar, I can tell it's a comparison essay. This is where we get into some more intense kind of mastery expert topic sentences. So situation stance, where you're giving us the situation or the subjects that you're comparing and contrasting, and then you're showing your position on it. So although the New England colonies and the Southern colonies shared common goals for independence, their positions on slavery differed greatly. So I can tell this is a compare-contrast essay because you're going to talk about common goals as well. And this last situation stance, when you visit California and Florida, you'll notice that they have more in common than just warm weather. So that's a situation stance, but you can see clearly from the word choice that it's going to be a comparison. Fanboys. So this is where you're using some sort of conjunction word and a comma, so it's a compound sentence basically. Basketball and football are both high school sports, comma, but there's one of your fanboys, the but conjunction word there after the comma. They share some obvious similarities, so it's a comparison essay. Laptop computers and tablet computers are different, comma, yet. So the Y in fanboys is the word yet. So they share some obvious similarities. So similar in construction, but there you go. Semicolon. So this is where you're creating a pretty complex sentence, right? So elementary students and high school students are different, semicolon. However, their teachers share similar concerns about their progress, or Democrats and Republicans have different political views. Nevertheless, they share similar hopes for the future of America. I would say both of these are going to be compare-contrast examples. So hopefully you're using the guided notes and you can have this to help you create your topic sentence when you're writing your short essay for me on your own. Okay, so here's what we need to think about when it comes to the scoring, because this is going to be going into your 90% category. So it is considered a proficiency. So when you think about the ideas, you need to have some meaning and important ideas to convey, and it's critical to choose the right characteristics or attributes from your little planner and diagram that's going to allow you to compare, contrast, or one or the other. When you're looking at organization, if it's a multi-paragraph, focus on the idea if you're comparing, contrasting, or both, and really organize your paragraphs accordingly because you don't want your reader to get confused. So don't muddle it. Don't put comparing and contrasting all in one paragraph together. Really think about how you're going to organize it so that your reader is clear on what you're actually doing. You need to include an intro, a body, and a conclusion. So at minimum, it has to be 3 paragraphs. That's the smallest amount you can do. So please be thinking about that, everyone. As far as sentence fluency, just constantly be aware of the types of sentences you're using in your writing. We need to see variety. A lot of you in your career essays were doing, all the same types of sentences. So you've got to be thinking as you go, oh, I just wrote a whole bunch of long sentences. I need to stick in a short one here. Or the opposite. I'm doing all short sentences. I need to combine some. As far as word choice, focus on replacing overused, everybody says it like that kind of words. Try to focus on more unusual, precise words. It's not always going to be something that is a large word or a word that nobody knows. You don't want to use those too much, okay? So it's kind of trying to find the right balance. And then you need to look for content-specific vocab. So like I was specifically saying, you need to be looking at words that signify whether you're comparing or contrasting and using that smoothly in your writing to improve the piece. And you can work on word choice the best in the revision process. So, when I write, I'm always going back and searching for just the right word. I even do this in text messages and tweets. I'm constantly going back and fussing with things. So you really do need to be paying attention to your word choice. And then as far as conventions, I saw a lot of errors in your career essay, people. You've got to be the best editor you can be. Spot those grammar and spelling mistakes before turning it in. I'm not your editor, and it's really distracting to me as the reader when I see something, like a lowercase I, or I see you using the wrong form of two, and two, or there, and there, and that sort of thing. I told you repeatedly as we were going through the career essay that college was spelled College, and there were still a lot of you that spelled it like collage. So you've really got to be thinking about being a really good editor and catching those mistakes. We're going to use this class graphic organizer in class tomorrow when we watch the video. And I guess regular students, if you're watching this, we might not get to the video for another day, so you kind of are a day behind the honors classes. But we will all use the same graphic organizer, so please make sure when you're done with this that you move this graphic organizer into Notability so we can start the movie right away in class and be able to get going on this. It's attached to this homework assignment, so as soon as you're done here, just make sure that you have in fact moved that into Notability so you're ready to go. I will help you fill this out, but this will be attached to your short essay that you're going to do. I want it both turned in together, so I want to see that you actually did some planning and organization before you begin your paper. Okay, you're finished for tonight. So don't forget to go and do the summary and question for the digital piece, and make sure you move that Venn diagram guided note thing into Notability so that we can get going tomorrow. Thanks, guys.